We are down to the final 4 on this season of Vendettas, and it's all going to come down to a puzzle. We got people walking around in night costumes and some mercenaries that didn't really do anything. So join us next on the episode 14 recap of Vendettas.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Take it away, Pam.
Here's the that was happening in my mind. Dun, 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 dun. All right, everyone.
Screw it.
For a little green. Right. All right, live chat. If you can tell us what movie this is from, we'll blow you.
Yeah,
a
let's
kiss.
pull up that live chat. Let's get everybody in here. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It is
Trivia.
almost coming to an end. The season, the podcast, and the show that we're doing, but we still have to wait till the reunion, just like they did with Dirty 30. They're doing us dirty again until the final winner is announced. And it all's coming down to a puzzle. We've got some thoughts on it. I hope that you join in. Let us know what you think. Again, this is episode 14 of the challenge. Season finale, almost season finale, called Vendettas Never Die. Very aggressive title. Welcome in. We got David in the house.
Hey, how's it going, guys? How you doing? I'm back.
We got Pamela with us.
Hey, thanks for hanging with us as we dissect this episode.
And my name is Jenna Bussiere. Thank you guys so much for joining us as always. We're going to pick it up right where we left off, but we're going to go over our general thoughts. What are your overall thoughts of this finale or final, almost finale? It basically is. We're gonna see the winner for 5 minutes on the reunion. I found it still enjoyable. I still had fun watching. I didn't take it too seriously, but there were some parts that I said this seemed completely pointless. And we're gonna break it down and get all into that in a minute. But overall, yeah. I still had fun. I liked it, but it definitely was, why did that happen?
Agreed. Overall, I really liked it. I liked the way we saw the semi-conclusion, that there is going to be actually one winner who is not only playing for the $150,000, but for all the money that the other people didn't get.
That's
That's a pretty
awesome.
big prize.
Yes.
And I think this is the first time we've ever seen it. It is winner takes all, right? I mean, the other people get their bank, which is great because I think it used to be if you didn't place, you don't get your bank at all. So it's nice that they get their bank. Overall, loved it, but there were a few riddle me this challenge moments.
You
where it was
scratch your
like-
head moments.
Exactly, and there were a few real, just that's the name of the game, unfair moments, but that were a bummer to watch. But overall, I really liked the way it sort of wound down. I kind of like the way it wrapped up. So
Yeah,
pretty happy
I'd say I
overall.
felt about the same. I mean, for me, it was more like a roller coaster. I agree. I think there's moments and there was like, that's pretty awesome, that's cool. And then there's some where it's like, huh?
Right,
Like,
literally.
It's like, wah, wah. And then it took me back up again. But no, it was cool. I thought, the whole puzzle thing was kind of a weird way to end it, but I understand. I think it's probably the most fair way to end it, so I get it. But I was super stoked on the whole, mercenary thing, and then I was kind of thrown off by the sword thing, and I mean, there's just so many little things in there, and I was like, but I mean, overall, like, I thought it was entertaining, it was fun, so I'm excited to see who wins.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did because the mercenaries were a complete flop. The food was ridiculous. We're really going hot chocolate and cheese. The pulling the swords game was pointless. The
Literally pointless.
This
really
stealing
was.
swords was fun, but at the same time was so counterintuitive and was like a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, except we did see where strategy won out there with Kyle, which we'll dissect later.
We had Nicole leave. A lot went on. So we're going to pick it up then at the puzzle. I was confused by this. I guess I was looking at the TV guide. I thought this was going to be separated into 2 completely different episodes of the final. So they say, okay, you've made it to this stage. We say goodbye to Leroy, Cam, and Tony, which was shocking that Tony, who's had the best season of his life and played the game the best this entire season of Vendettas, goes home, finishes in 4th, dead last.
Yay!
Bye, Tony.
Yes. Goodbye, dude. Serves you right, buddy.
But then teacher's like, okay, so in order to get that money, you just gotta win one little puzzle. I'm like, wait, what? This is the final thing that they have to do?
Yeah, we were all, I think, totally thrown for a loop. I think even the players were thrown for a loop. They show Kara's face and she's like, none of them are like, what? Trying to figure it out. I think that the way they did it, if we're looking at the overall, is that they had that sort of semi-final thing to get into the finals. So then this final, which we thought was going to be this epic 2-parter, was almost a mini final. But they overall did have, strength with the running with the stuff on, food, even though it was lame.
Endurance.
And, endurance and a puzzle. We always know there's going to be a puzzle, so it's weird that it all boils down to this, but they've already sort of conquered...
Yeah, I did really
lot of
like.
other
I like
things.
when it's checkpoints, and that's what you have to do in the final. You have to have you race to different points, play different games, do different challenges at those points. Some of them
Yeah.
were lame and pointless.
So lame.
Ridiculously lame. But so we missed the puzzle part, and then we get to this puzzle, and honestly, I was kind of bummed at first, but then as I kept going, you see that this is actually a really challenging, hard puzzle, and I know that I would struggle with it, with all of the memory, remembering the colors, and you get to run back and forth. But what makes it so hard is now that Kara and Zach are in a foot race with each other trying to figure out this puzzle, they've also both made mistakes, and that's probably the most frustrating thing, because not only you're trying to remember this, now you have to go back. You don't know where your
Yeah, you
mistake
gotta figure out where
is.
that
Worst.
Yeah,
it's the
that's-
worst. It's almost like starting from scratch. Kara seemed to know. She said, "I'm missing one color or something." She seemed to
They
have
both
some
were.
sort of idea. Okay, because I was like, "That is awful." Because
Yeah.
you
Needle
have no
in a
idea,
haystack.
and you might as well start over. It's
Right.
like you have to then go back and just compare. I
mean,
guess
something something like that. I think would be, at least for me, I'd probably just take it by row. I'd try to remember
Right.
as many colors each row as I can, like pink, purple, green, blah blah blah, and just keep saying that as I'm running along the way. Get there, and then to me, I think that would be a solid way
Because you
I would
almost
do it. but-
essentially have to redo the puzzle completely again. You have
Right.
to go back and now take it grid by grid or row by row and figure
Yeah.
out until you find it.
Right,
Luckily
right.
for Zach, his is in the up right corner. It's one of the first things. If he's going row by row rather than square by square or column by column,
Yeah.
he's going to find it first, because Cars is all the way down in
Right.
the right-hand corner. If that was me, I'd be like, okay, let me take my time, go back and remember every color in a row or in this square. I wouldn't find that until the end.
How frustrating.
Kayla would
be?
probably beat me
Frustrating.
before I would figure out my mistake. Or no, she wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I can't even say that about Kayla, though, because exactly her facial reaction to trying to put together this puzzle, I'm like, yeah, same. Especially
Yeah.
after all of the physically taxing and mentally taxing stuff you've already done that day. You've ran all over this mountain. You've run all around this country in a night costume. See, playing these
exhausted.
games, eating cheese, it's not
Eating
that
cheese
bad,
and
but
hot
at the same
chocolate,
time,
I
it's
don't
still
know.
sitting in the pit of your stomach. And then you're probably so foggy. I'm foggy from a 10-minute jog around
Yeah.
the neighborhood. So to do something like that and then go try and play a memory game, forget it.
And it's just
Yeah.
wet and cold, like rainy, and you're just exhausted, and then now you have to really focus. And yeah, I mean, again, it's shapes and colors or whatever, but I mean, it's one of those things that at the end of that, you're just exhausted. So that's just one more thing to add on to, And
Yeah.
And to shout out some people in the live chat, because this is exactly how I felt at first as well. So Tori Venziel says, Battle of the Bloodlines final was lit. They should have done that type of final. And Pamela also agrees. Pamela Adonis says, hiking up mountain finals are awesome. And that's what I thought too. I said I wanted something where they're actually in a foot race to the end. They have to hike. They have to do an all-out sprint. Like, it's going to come down to something athletic of that
Yeah.
nature.
I agree.
But the puzzle's kind of awesome.
Well, it's
it's sneaky.
not as exciting to watch, for one thing, but it is exciting because you have to keep your cool. You know what I mean? You have to use your mind, but you also have to not freak out when you get messed up. Then you have to run back and forth and compare, and then you have to strategize how you're going to do it. If you mess up, like, are you going to do rows, columns? So there's a lot that goes into it. I don't think it's as lame as it is to watch, but as a viewer, it's certainly not that stimulating for the big winner takes it all.
Yeah.
To watch someone go run back and forth and rearrange colors.
it-
They just could have thought
Even
of
though it is a
something.
really good even playing field.
It is.
and
Yeah,
it's-
that's, I mean,
it
it's,
is.
and it's one of those challenges that doesn't look difficult, but it actually really
Well,
is difficult.
it's also gender
Yeah.
neutral,
Right.
which a lot of it. Well,
This
no,
is
it's
a
hard.
non-gender conforming final. There's one winner. No, I
But
know.
it
it's
is
funny.
hard. If it was carry this log up a mountain, one winner, like, the guys are going to have an
True.
advantage. So you have to do something like this. If it's an individual
Mm-hmm.
competition, it has to be something where you're not pitting males and
Well,
females.
yeah, and keep in mind
physically.
too the energy that you're exerting as you're running back and forth, back and forth, back
Right.
and forth after
Mm-hmm.
that whole trek that you just did. So I mean, it's challenging. It's
Yeah,
definitely challenging.
sure, it is. No, it is. I mean,
It is challenging, but I think that there's something to be said that the final winner is not going to be as climatic. It's not going to be as much of an explosion to see the final winner. It's not going to be as exciting. I don't know. Unless
Right.
it's somebody completely random. Like, if
don't know.
Kayla can randomly pull this out, then that would be like, wow, Kayla won and she won off a puzzle. But this just doesn't have the excitement as somebody running
Right.
up to the final flag on top
Well,
of
I
the
can
mountain.
see too how if you're one of those final competitors and after all that to get there and all that crazy challenge stuff that you had to do, and then it comes down to a puzzle and say you got beat, and I'd be like, dude, all that,
Right.
and then I lost to a puzzle.
Because you have to be smart too.
Yeah.
As much as we would love
would
to just
suck, though,
do this
like-
all based off of athleticism and endurance, you gotta have good memory and you gotta have it all.
Yeah, the winners have it all. Usually, you have to be able to endure everything that the challenge throws at you. So,
Yeah. Okay. So then that is where we get to with the puzzle. So now let's move
Yeah.
on and talk about the people who are in the final four. So this
Okay.
is Zach. I think this is extremely well deserved because he's kind of run this entire game from a competition standpoint and also politically. Like he's snuck his way into the troika week after week, lied to
good game.
people, which was dirty, but it was good for him and it got
Right.
him to where he is. Kyle, who unsuspectingly played the best
Kyle.
game this entire season, honestly.
man.
Kyle.
All right.
He's getting these
No
lucky
one
charms.
Saw, no
Yeah.
one saw that coming.
But it's funny because everybody's saying he was brought there because he was the layup, but I don't think he's ever been the layup. He's
been-
No.
always
Yeah.
played and performed very well. People just like him and they don't want to admit that he's good because he jokes about himself.
Well, that's
And-
the
Right.
thing. He doesn't have that like bravado, that bravado. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm an alpha male, or like kind of. He
Yeah.
doesn't throw himself in those type of situations, and he's more just kind of a low key kind of dude.
Yeah.
So I think people don't take him as serious, And then
yeah.
obviously just he drinks and he's a pirate and that whole thing, and so I think people just kind of sleep on him a little bit, and he's just coming out of nowhere. So.
And I think he did surprise himself, like he surprised everyone else each week, because we didn't know what he could do. And I think he did legit. Every week it was like, I can't do this. And every week he did it well. And it was like, did it well again.
So how did people
But-
not notice that is what I'm
They
saying. This was a
did, though.
huge
They-
reality check to them because they're saying
Yeah.
Kyle's a layup. We're bringing him here because he's easy, but actually he has won a ton this season and has just been really likable and hasn't caused any backstabbing or any breaking any alliances. And he's kicked ass in every performance.
Well, Jen, I think he proved, and it's essentially his strategy played out today. Is I think everybody else in the house, they were so focused on their other vendettas. They're
Yeah.
so focused on playing the game against those vendettas and messing people over that he just slipped under the radar. He was just kind of that dude that just kind of was like, okay, like no one really focused on
Right.
him, and
And-
he just.
And we have a question in the live chat, which are like, oh, this is Palmdale's Adonis. Sorry, I said Pamela before. I just got Pamela always on my mind. So
I got
he
you, girl.
brings up
I
a
see
good
you.
question. Is it the rookie of the year? Is it Kyle then or Cam?
Oh, good question.
I'm going to say Kyle because
have to say
Kyle
Kyle.
performed better not only in the final, but... And it's hard because Cam did go in and she won 2 or 3 eliminations. I
Yeah.
can't remember. But she also got thrown into them. Kyle played a good enough game socially and politically that he never got put in a position to go into an elimination.
he
And
played it
isn't
smart.
that the best way to play the game? So I
agree.
think maybe he's played the best game.
I don't know if we're allowed to pick 2, but I think they're both rookies of the year, male and female. Kyle was masterful in getting to where he is and convincing everyone he was not a threat and being likable. I don't think Kyle ever saw an elimination. Was he ever in an elimination?
No, that's exactly.
Yeah,
So he
like-
always avoided it, which
Yeah.
is what you always want to do.
Genius, yeah.
I mean, to the bitter end, he never saw an elimination. He didn't even ever once have to perform in it. So that is pretty impressive.
And then Dave, you said the same, just Kyle.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 100% Kyle. I mean, obviously, if there was one for woman and man, of course,
Yeah.
definitely Cam. But I think obviously just going with one here would have to be Kyle. I mean, that
Yeah.
was smart. I think, I saw in the comments, I agree. I think he played the whole house. He
I-
really did.
I think he was sincere, though. I don't think he
Right.
was playing anyone per se. I think he just
He
was like-
he was smart, though.
Yeah.
He was smart. I think a lot smarter than people
he's
give him credit
smarter
for.
than anyone, than myself included, gave him credit for.
Right.
Being like, well, they're concerning themselves with each
Right.
other. I'm going to take all 3 of their things.
And
no
Cara obviously deserves to be there, but Kayla, I mean, it's deserved that she made it to this point. If you made it this far, it's hard to say that you didn't deserve it, but I don't know if I would particularly think going into the season that she'd be one of the final 4
Agreed.
and in this position.
And if Cam didn't bone up the high-low game, which was so
do you
stupid.
think Cam would have beat her?
1,000,000%.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I'm
I
with you
think
on that, Pam. I agree.
Yeah, I
think
think
so.
Cam. Well, Cam was in second. That really took up a lot of time.
It's hard to say in hindsight. I still think it was anybody's game.
I mean,
Could
we
have been,
can't.
but I think Cam would have.
Yeah, I think Cam would have continued her lead had she not gotten stumped.
It depends on how they handled it endurance-wise. I know Kayla says that she doesn't have the best endurance, but do we know that Cam does? So I think it was still kind of even, and it just would come down to whoever won the sword game, maybe if...
Yes, you're right. And what I wanted to... That brings up... Cam or Kayla won. Didn't Kayla win the semi-final getting in though? Wasn't she the... Oh no, she won that swinging from the things. I was going to say, didn't she come in first for the girls?
I don't know what you're talking
when
about.
When Jemmy and Devin got sent home, they said by a landslide the winner was, Tony or something, or Zach.
It was Zach, yeah.
And for the girls, I think it was Kayla.
I don't know.
Because I remember being
know. I think
surprised,
it
but
was
I'm sorry.
Forgiveness.
But what I wanted to say, I had a point, which was that Kyle, the reason why we do sort of sleep on him is with these endurance things and his being in shape, he can pull it through on a short, but I don't know if anyone knew if he could do it in the long haul, and he did come in within 5 seconds of Devin.
I still go back to my analogy. I feel like he's really just a little kid that has harnessed so much energy within his body. He just has so much adrenaline. He can just run off of Doritos and whiskey and be fine and just never get tired. He never gasses out. It's amazing. He's a high school kid.
Yeah.
He's got heart though. He's got a lot of heart.
He does.
So then we see it's Cam, Leroy, and Tony that end up going home. So I know, David, you're happy about Tony going. Of course I am, but I don't want to hate on him too much because I know everybody gets mad when
I just
hate
think
on
he
him.
deserved it. I think it's that one thing called karma, when it comes around, it sucks. I mean, I will say I'm a little bummed about the whole Mercenary thing because I really wanted Johnny to give it to him, but it didn't happen, but he went home. I am bummed about Leroy though. I felt like he could have made it. He was in first. I mean, he was killing it. He was doing good, and then I think mentally it got to him and broke him, and he obviously gave up, and they passed him. And I think if he would have just stuck it through, and again, I know that's got to be extremely challenging. It's easy to talk about on this end, but if he could have just stuck it through, I think he would have made it to the final, the very last part of it.
I don't know if he gave up mentally, but it definitely is his fault and his responsibility that he did finish in third. Zach beat him. He had the lead. Kyle came up and ran up on him and took the lead. So sadly, I mean, Leroy had that fire. He had that fight in the elimination against Brad, and then he just kind of fell short in the final.
What I mean, he lost it. He lost that. Lost that focus.
Well, he said it best. He was like, they didn't walk by me. They ran by me. Both
Yeah,
of those guys
yeah.
ran by me. And at that point, I, threw in the
But there's
towel for
something
Leroy.
to be said for Tony playing so well this entire season, and I know I'm biased, but I think if it was anybody else, let's say it was Leroy or Brad, and I still feel bad that Brad's not in the final, but somebody else who had played as good of a game all season as Tony, to not win and not get into the final four of the final, I would actually feel bad for them. But in this instance, I'm like, well, yeah, sorry, Tony. Guess you didn't have what it takes.
Yeah, I feel like normal human compassion bad for him, but I feel really bad for poor Nicole. Because that sucks. And it's not like she just lost. She twisted her ankle, which sucks so much because I felt really horrible for her when she was crying. She's like, I can't believe this is real.
You never want to go that far and then have to go home because of an injury.
That's a bummer.
That sucks.
Right,
and
yeah.
she really had a shot, too. I mean, Tony lost fair and square. He didn't win. He didn't place.
So the thing is, Nicole had a shot. Do you think there was any chance in hell she was finishing that final puzzle?
No.
There's no way.
At least she would have gotten her bank. She had $39,000 or something. She at least would have gotten.
I thought that when they rolled up to that puzzle, and I said, well, actually, I love Nicole, and I feel very bad that happened to her. I completely feel her pain.
Yeah, that sucked. But
and that I would laugh when people get injured in finals or they complain or they quit, but in her situation, I actually feel really bad for her because I've been in that position, like championship, getting into the semifinals for lacrosse and then spraining my ankle and then not being able to play and just losing half the season. And her crying about it, that she was so passionate about it and that really was a true injury.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw her running with the chains and she kind of slid, I saw that ankle fold and I knew it was an ankle injury right away. So I feel bad for her, but I said as soon as she got injured, I said, Nicole, baby girl, you weren't going to solve that puzzle anyway. Before the puzzle even came, because you know that there's always a puzzle. I'm like, Nicole.
Better now than with shame.
Give her credit. You never know.
Well,
Look at Kyle.
Remember when it was her and Corey last year and they had to count triangles or something in an actual puzzle, but they were so confused about the number they were getting, they turned over to the flag that said invasions, and they were counting the triangles in the A's and all of the different letters. They were like, oh wait, does that count as a triangle? Okay, there's 130 triangles.
Oh man, yeah. At least this was just colors. What's their order? Like maybe it wasn't like math or numbers.
So
Maybe
I feel very bad for Nicole. But how do you guys feel about the losers, Leroy, Tony, and Cam, leaving with no money? This question was posed in our live chat, and I kind of get it. I mean, you didn't make the final, so no, you don't get any of your money. It's kind of, that's that.
I mean, yeah, it sucks, but I almost legit thought there was going to be a twist when he was like, sorry, you did good, but you're not going. It just seems so anticlimactic that I was like, one more team of girls and guys is going to get to go to the final. And then no, I did. I thought maybe it was a trick. It was so like, this is it.
I was thinking that when he said the thing about the puzzle, I was like, okay.
And then, right after the puzzle, stay up all night and hike Mount Kilimanjaro.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing. Like
what?
David, do you think that reading books helps you better at puzzles?
You know what? I really do. As a fan of Maria's books, I know how much you can tell from her. It's nice to have free weekly podcasts to learn from even more, though. You know, the Conversations with Maria podcast covers so many topics and gives so many life lessons and tips to help you be your best you. I love listening to it. I love listening to Maria's celebrity interviews as well. I always learn new things. And as a host pursuing like my dreams, it's great to have, you know, Maria's podcast for all the career lessons as well.
That is awesome. I'm going to definitely tune in. And when I do, I will tell people that you over at The Challenge and Jenna
so tune
told
in
us to find it.
to Maria's podcast and say we sent you.
Yep.
By the way, we heard some of you guys had said that we sent you guys, and thank you for that. That is
so
awesome.
We love hearing that.
Coming. Yes.
Makes us smile. So can we just say, sword game.
Oh, okay.
Real
I wanted
quick
to get
before-
into the Mercenaries because this was obviously another huge storyline, or can you say huge because this was a massive ball dropped.
Oh my God.
First off, when we saw the Mercenaries come out, I loved it. I love that Melissa was back. And Bananas is always a fun face to see, especially because Tony and Zach are there and they threw him away.
Right.
But I wish that they didn't tease it to us in the commercial because you knew it was happening. If that had happened without us knowing it, I would have really been like, yes, this is incredible. This is awesome. I love to see Melissa. Why that game?
It was such...
We played a card game. It was
That was
higher
a
or lower.
letdown.
This
a
was
chance.
That was like a balloon just deflated. It was
So
like,
dumb.
This was so pointless. Talk about anticlimactic. I mean, that was it to a T.
Even to the players, like they laid it up, like they brought them out and said, you're going to have to go into the dungeon and fight Johnny and Melissa.
I was so stoked. I was like, make it a duel or something, like, you know, pit and fire. And
so were the players. They were like, oh man, Leroy's going to have it easy. We're going to have it rough. She's going to throw these grenades at her. They thought they were in control in some way, but it was a lame game of chance. It would have been so much cooler if they had to have them like literally allow them to pass
it was
through
like
the
Zach,
gate.
he's like a blackjack dude.
Right.
Zach really put it the best. He's like,
Right.
man, I'm thinking Bananas is going to slice my head off. I'm going to have to go with this physical chanting. And he's just playing.
He's a blackjack dealer.
We're just playing a game of cards.
Happened?
It was so lame.
Was this the best we could do, producers?
Come on.
This was all we could come up with. You have Bananas and Melissa. They're both so fierce. They're both so athletic, and they were great. They're
And the
great
build at the setup
competitors.
for both of them and their
Right.
vendettas would have been awesome. Like, what a, like, man. And then the whole sword thing on
Such
top
a
of that.
letdown.
If I was Bananas and Melissa, I would be pissed. I say I get to go back and I get to look somebody who either sent me home or somebody who started a fight with me, somebody that I hate, and all I get to do is flip a card. And also, can we talk about how easy those cards were?
It was
Right.
either ace or
Right.
two, higher or lower.
Who was shuffling that shit? Come on.
And also, it would have been fun if they had to convince the Mercenaries to let them pass. Like that would have. That's what I
Maybe
thought.
something,
It was
yeah.
so easy, like
Something.
higher, lower. Here's a 2. What do you
It
think?
was so
Imagine if the
lame.
next card was an ace.
Like,
Like that would be incredible.
you
was
might as
so
well like flip the
stupid.
coin, heads or tails. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
really? Like,
Yeah.
Want to play patty
come
cake
on,
real
like-
quick,
That
and
would
then you
have
get
been
to go to
more
the final.
a
Right,
game of
like-
chance. This was like you had 25 odds on your side. If it
I
was,
will say the thing that did make it cool for me though is it was good seeing Melissa back. Good seeing you,
Yeah,
girl.
good
It's always
seeing you,
nice
Melissa.
to watch. So that was
And
cool.
Melissa, we
Cam.
just liked that we got to look at you again.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
And also, when she came out, Homegirl was modeling
Oh.
it up. She walked out and was like, I'm your
Strutting the stuff.
mercenary. But I enjoyed it.
And
complaining.
Cam with the shit talk was wonderful.
Right,
She's like, I
right.
didn't know she lived here. Like, with Cam is the best.
Melissa, girl, I don't know if this
Yeah.
was your bedroom. Please,
It was
Melissa
great.
is at the top. She's at the penthouse of the castle. She ain't in no basement
Yeah, she's in
dungeon.
the tower.
But I felt really bad for Cam because she's the only one that actually has to deal with the
I know.
mercenary storyline of this final.
And she's
Again,
the
though.
only one that got a middle placed card. Everyone else got
Yes.
kings, aces too. She got like 7s and 10s.
Yeah, Jenna, who is shuffling that deck? Seriously.
So
like-
there's
Yeah.
a question and an issue of things being rigged or heavily manipulated by production, but I thought there's no way that this can be rigged because why would they not have Bananas do something to
With
Tony
Tony,
then or
right?
Zach? For Cam, it kind of seems set up that way because Melissa actually got to use it against an actual feud that she had, somebody who she had a vendetta with. But for the rest of them, like Cara, she obviously had no problems with, got off easy. Kayla, I don't think was the best with her because she ganged up and she joined in Cam and the army against Melissa, but it was so easy for them. The cards were so easy. It was so pointless.
Right.
I think it was set up to be not that much of a, as we saw with a lot of 2s, aces, and kings. And then I really think I don't think this was a conspiracy. I think it's just crappy luck. I think there were probably like 3 7s,
And-
9s, and 10s in the whole
As
thing.
much as I love Cam and I feel like she really got screwed over because she was the one person to have to deal with it, at the same time, I like that Melissa made her bear the log
yeah,
because Melissa
yeah.
didn't come back just
Yeah.
to say, oh, I'm going to give you water because now I'm just going to forgive. Like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
bury that log because you got in a fight with me and
And you
I don't
said,
like
yeah,
you,
yeah.
so let's go.
I agree. And pun intended, let's call a spade a spade. It's one of those things that, like, she did have that past issue. Karma comes around. And, like I said, Cam's my girl. She's still my girl. But Melissa was my girl first. But, I mean, hey, you gotta pay your, pay that, pay
Can we
forward.
talk about, first off, Kayla trying to put on that night costume, that night outfit was
That's funny.
hysterical. She gets past the mercenary. She has nothing to worry about. And this is where she's going to have her breakdown. She's going to
Right.
start hysterically crying because she can't figure out how to put this night costume on.
It was very Kayla.
That
Just
just
watching
says
her in the
something.
costume was funny. Like,
Seeing everybody in that costume, when I saw the preview of this, the commercial, I thought, really, what the hell is this final? They're walking around with swords and in night costumes. Like, what's going on here? What is this concept? But I loved it. It actually was pretty hysterical to see that.
And that does have to be awful. Once they all have their stupid helmets on, they all looked like
You almost feel like there should have
Sad.
been, especially with the swords, the armor. Like, it almost seems like there should have been some kind of, like, real duel or something. Some kind of fight, like
Well, some
Some
something.
fencing.
Like,
Should we get to the last night?
Cam
Right.
playing that game
Or the
with
first
no
night?
opponent was as interesting
Okay.
as watching someone play that game with an opponent. So that
You're
says
right.
how bad that game was.
Seriously, can we just with that? Okay, so
That
let's
was
go
the
over some of these
dumbest.
stupid ass games that they played. So they have to pull the swords, and nobody even cared to try to get any strategy towards this game. They just made deals with each other, like, all right, whatever, let's just throw the swords in the bucket, and then I'll give you
Cheese
cheese
and
or
hot
hot chocolate, because none of the food is actually difficult to eat anyway.
Yeah, I have to say, which is never I never want to insult Cara because she's my girl and I love her the most, but she had some pretty poor sportsmanship during that. It is a game. She's like, well, why are you doing that to me? I won't do it to you. It's like, because that is the game, Cara. You can't be mad that someone does the rules that are given to you. I thought that was kind of lame. The game was lame.
So Pam, would you
but for
not be
her-
would you not be mad if someone did that to you and you're in the heat of that moment and doing that game?
Of course I would, but not the way Cara was like. Fine, take.
How would you handle if Jen
grumbling.
was taking your
I mean, I'd
thing?
be irritated, but it's all part of the game. She's been in enough of these to realize, like, of course you use the strategies that are given
I
to you.
knew that was going to happen with Cara.
She's
because
such a little baby
as
about
a
things
beast,
like that.
exactly. She's such a beast, but she's also the first to complain about the rules of the game.
She's a rule girl.
I agree with her. I think it was really stupid and counterintuitive and pointless to now let's go down this tube. Let's go on this never-ending cycle of stealing swords from each other. Like, this is
Right.
never going to end until we go to an agreement. All we're doing at the end of the day is making each other tired.
Right.
We're just
Exactly.
you're making the final worse for you because by screwing someone else, you're then going to screw yourself.
If they had
it doesn't
strategy at all, if they had all said, let's make Cara like let's all, then
Yes.
it would have made sense. But for each one to just be picking off another one is lame. But Cara was running, going like, just think you should win on your merit, not on your game.
I know,
It's
she's
like, Cara,
so
come
goody
on.
two shoes
Like,
with that stuff, and she always has
It's
been.
a
Like,
game.
you've been on how many seasons of this, and you think people are just gonna play nice with you because you asked them?
It's integrity.
Right.
It's called integrity, Jen.
It's-
Okay.
Yeah.
I admire that.
Again,
Cara.
you know she's my favorite, and I love her, and I'm rooting for her. But I was like, oh, give me a break, Cara. Come on.
Yeah, I mean-
you can't be all bent out of shape that they're doing the thing that the game says to do.
I think the thing with Zach and Tony would have worked had Kyle not been the little sneaky guy that he was. That would actually worked, but fortunately for Leroy, Kyle was sneaking around and getting all of them. So that's why.
But like you said, this game was set up for everybody to gang up on one person.
Exactly,
And
that's
they
the
all should have
strategy.
done that.
Right.
And so Nicole's the only one stealing from Cara. I didn't see Cam or Kayla engage at all. But Kyle, so Tony and Zach, they try to steal from Leroy, which is great because they're ganging up together. But then Kyle is that loose cannon that's now stealing from everybody. And he
Right.
just gets to fly under the radar again. Dude is the luckiest. He's either playing the best game or he's the luckiest person on this entire
Both.
season. Like, they really did not understand if we all just steal from one person's bucket.
Right.
It was never going to work unless they all agreed and were on the same team.
Well, they all thought, like we did, that Johnny would have some position in the game other than dealing blackjack that
Right.
would help Leroy. So they sort of, it made sense then, but then when we realized that none of that meant anything and they just dealt cards, that it didn't matter. So they kind of would have had a good strategy if Leroy was really going to get a leg up there and like get a big lead, if he was able to dole out time or do something. But it wound up being a big nothing, the Mercenaries, and then that game because Kyle
Yeah,
just
so-
beat them all.
Like I said, because I didn't take this so seriously, I was laughing at everything that was happening, and even all the games that I thought were stupid or ridiculous. But when it's all said and done, there were some really weak parts to the final.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. I think we pretty much killed it on everything.
Yeah.
All that, but I mean,
But
yeah.
so with that being said, let's get into our predictions.
Oh.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Where's that voice coming from?
So we have 4 people left. We know the name of the game. Kyle, Cara, Kayla, Zach, doing a puzzle, memory game, color puzzle. Who you got?
I feel like from what we've seen, there could be some kind of like wrench thrown in there, so I might say Kyle.
I
I'm
hope
just
you're
gonna go
right.
with Kyle, dude. I'm gonna go with you, man.
I feel like actually the best argument you can have for Kyle winning is no argument at all, because he just like skates under. He's so lucky. Nobody hates him. Like, he's just the guy that's happy-go-lucky and wins everything. So honestly, like, it could be Kyle
be
just because
Kyle,
he's
like,
Kyle, and
right.
because he says that he's so bad at memory, that means he's gonna win a memory
Right.
game because it's just a Kyle thing
But
to
you
do.
wouldn't expect it, you know? Like, yeah.
Just
so-
thought about the colors.
Yeah.
And then I put them there.
I feel bad. I don't think Cara's gonna pull this out. I think she's getting kind of mental and emotional. She's looking at that color board. She doesn't know where her mistake is, and meanwhile, it's all the way down at the bottom right. Don't know if she's gonna find it. I don't know if Zach's gonna find his mistake either, because that's a needle in the haystack to have to go back and do. So, does anybody think it's gonna be Kayla?
No.
No, not at all.
I do
No,
not
I
think
don't.
it's going to be Kayla. I think it's going to be either Cara or Zach, but I really don't know, because you brought up a great point about the positioning of their mistakes. Like, it makes sense to just take it from the top, literally, and God, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be Zach, and I really don't want it to be, but I think it is going to
It
be.
might. I think it might be Zach,
It
or
could
I
be
think it's gonna be a
Zach.
curveball,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be a Kyle. And I hope it's Kayla just because we all said.
Kyle, but I'll say a close second is a strong possibility Zach, but I'm going to stick with Kyle.
All right. Well, we're probably going to find out for, what do you think, like 5 minutes on the next episode. Then we're going to go straight to the reunion. Or maybe they'll show the clip of it on the reunion. I don't know what they're doing. But we'll have to see till next time. So we also got some news and gossip for this week. What do we want to get into first?
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, we'll actually do some harder news first, because I
Wow.
have something kind of funny that I want to bring up. So season 32, Final Reckoning, without spoiling too much because this is all speculation, I did receive a tweet that it looks like Final Reckoning is going to be in a partner format with your Vendettas or your Dirty 30, you know, whoever on this past 2 seasons, because they're kind of making it a trilogy. And some of them that stuck out to me were CT and Veronica being a partnership. Tori and Derek, so Tori Hall or Tori Deal and Derek, her boyfriend that she cheated on, Devin
Ooh,
and
that'll be
Bananas
interesting.
partnering up, which is amazing, obviously. Cam and Melissa.
Devin and Bananas. That's
Devin and Bananas,
hilarious.
yeah. Cam and Melissa, which I think is going to be such a good team.
That'll
That
be
is such
interesting.
a
Yeah,
fierce
that's
team.
true.
And I think they're going to put aside their differences so quickly
If they
and
can, they
learn,
can
like,
kill it.
we're going to, exactly, we're going to be
Yeah.
awesome together. We bring everything to the table. Jemmy and Jenna, because Jenna threw Jemmy in, or on Dirty 30, yes, she sent her to the Redemption House, I believe, and then Jemmy said, Jenna, I'm going to get you back, and then throw you into elimination. So Jemmy and Jenna, which, you feel bad for Jenna here, because Jenna's tough, and she's an awesome competitor, and now she's kind of with Jemmy, who's not the best.
And do you have to do the whole thing as a team, or you can ever? Can
See,
you ever
I don't know. This is just kind of
Now-
rumors that we're seeing. That's why it's news
Yeah.
and gossip.
I've heard different versions of these.
Oh, okay,
Spill
what
it,
have you
spill it,
heard?
Pam.
Well, I heard Cara and Jemmy.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't know. So I don't know how true these are.
Interesting.
Also, I don't know. I love it. I love what I'm hearing here. So I hope
So
that
there's
these
more.
are true.
So another one. So
What
this
about our
is
live
there
chat?
seems to be some really good competitors with some weaker ones, like the Jemmy and Jenna situation. And there's also, so you heard Cara, but I heard for Cara that she's going to be partnered with Marie. And I would love to see the dynamic of that partnership.
They might be
Because
well
Marie
together.
is crazy, and I want to see how Cara's going to deal with that. But Marie is actually smarter than what we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, she's had some good strategy, but she kind of, like, goes back and forth with her 1,000 personalities.
Yeah.
So I think that would be an interesting coupling. And also one that I really like is Kayla and Kaylee. So it sounds like
that'll
if
be
Kaylee does come back, even though she left midway last season because of what happening with the whole girls going against her situation, I would love to see that come together. Because
too.
Kayla, I don't think is one to put aside her grudges and her differences with somebody she's had an issue with very
this
quickly.
is like a producer's
Yeah.
dream.
It's a
like-
wet
and a
dream.
viewer's dream.
Yeah. This will make for good TV.
But
good
it
show.
sounds like the only men involved are Banana, CT, Devin, and Derek.
Well,
K.
no, this is
So-
not all of them. These are just
Okay.
ones that stuck out to me. There's a ton more partnerships. These were just ones that I thought were notable to release.
So when it was the battle, when it was the one where Bananas and Sarah were partners, were there girl partners and guy girl partners, or was it all co-ed partners?
That was Rivals, or no, I think that was all co-ed.
okay.
That was all
'Cause
co-ed
that's what
partners.
I always wonder how it would work with girl, guy.
I would like
guy,
it. Let's
guy.
equal the playing field. That's the thing. That's why there's
Yeah.
all speculation. That would be very interesting. Good point.
But I like it.
I want to get to then some funny. This is not even news, but we just need to say this because it's funny.
Okay.
A fan, and she tweeted this. A fan of the challenge recently had a baby, and she named her baby Jayla in honor of the Jenna and Kayla relationship. So she tweeted, Jayla Elizabeth Castro was born.
Wow.
Thanks, Kayla Casillas and Jenna Capono for helping me pick out her name. Hashtag Team Jayla.
Wow.
How do we feel about that?
That's much.
I mean, I think it's a
Wow.
really pretty name. The name existed before Team Jayla did, before the challenge. You know, it's a nice, pretty name, but at the same time, that's way too much. That is too extra on your fandom of the challenge.
Wow.
Gonna start naming kids like Bradney now.
Yeah.
But
No
bananas.
comment.
Just name your kid Bananas in honor of bananas.
I like Bradley.
Well, there's an apple. Gwyneth
Camroy,
Paltrow.
we're gonna have baby
Cameroy.
Camroy.
I actually
Camroy.
like.
You know what? I would
like
name
him.
mom baby Camroy.
I would do
into it.
Camroy before Jayla.
I like the name Camera. I think that should become a thing. Camera is actually pretty.
I just think
Camroy.
that is
Camroy.
really funny. And then obviously, if you've
It's a
seen
universal.
the promos, we do have Champs vs. Stars. We, as if I'm associated with MTV.
got it.
We're going to do a panel on it, though, but MTV is going to release a new season of Champs vs. Stars starting April 17th. And this time, instead of Champs versus Stars, they're going to intermix teams and have it Champs with Stars versus other Champs with Stars. So it should be interesting. Some people on that one are CT this isn't speculated, this is now released. CT, Tori Deal, Cam and Kayla. We got Ashley M coming back. And then for some of the stars, we got Lil Mama. We got Louise Hazel, who was actually on the first Champs vs. Pros that we saw, and we loved her. The one that pulled
Oh, the Brit.
yes, the Brits.
Okay.
And then we have Drake Bell back from Drake and
Are you
Josh from
serious?
Nickelodeon,
That is
and
crazy.
Brooke Hogan and a bunch of other
Wow.
people. But those are some of those
Wow.
that are going to be on the
Blast of the
premiere
past.
April
Gonna be
17th.
awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. So that has been our recap of the final. We have to wait and see who won this whole thing. This has been the season of Vendettas, episode 14, Vendettas Never Die. Thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Jenna Bussiere. You can find me on Twitter at Jenna_Bussiere.
And thank you again. We appreciate you being in the live chat. Follow me, Pamela Gross, at Pamela Gross Jill. All over social media.
I love how you never remember. You look at me as if I have your handle memorized. I'm like, I think that's your handle. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm Ron Burgundy.
it's that. It's that. I am Ron Burgundy.
Thank you guys so much again for hanging out with us. You can find me, David Punkar Christopher, Instagram, David Punkar Christopher, Twitter, DPR Christopher. See you next time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do never know. I usually have to write it down and then I read
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.